And if you saw my outburst, I apologize. It's showtime now. There's been a lot of talk about this defensive line, and I've got some thoughts on some of these guys, and I want to start with Kenyatta Jackson. Kenyatta Jackson, a lot of people thought coming into this year would be dominant, and Caden Curry and Bo Atkinson opposite him would be a pretty good pair. The only worry was the backups on the interior. You got K-Mac and you got Eddie, who most people thought would be really solid to great. And after that, what do you got? Of course, this was all before we saw the defense kind of get turned on its head, as we had no idea we would be seeing so many different alignments that would bring guys like Bo Atkinson and Kenyatta playing tackle and Caden Curry playing nose, which means you have to rely on those reserves inside much less. And the more and more we see that, the less snaps we see for the guys on the interior. So that would mean you wouldn't have to worry about those guys as much. But when we talk about each one of these guys, we'll start with Caden, who has been amazing. Caden Curry, just tremendous. K-Mac has also been amazing. The two Cadens have just been great. And when we move forward to Kenyatta's getting the job done. And I think that it's better than some people think. I've heard him getting bashed here recently. He only has like 3 tackles on the year, right? And I saw somebody say, Kenyatta has less tackles than CJ Hicks. Well, CJ Hicks has 4, Kenyatta has 3. But the pass rush and him not getting off blocks is what a lot of people are talking about. We expected more sacks from him. There's a lot of plays where you can tell clearly on the film that Kenyatta Jackson is engaging his man, getting back to heels depth of the offensive line, holding his guy there, and he's waiting to read and react. So he's not on a pass rush. And we've talked about this forever with Jack and JT. There's a lot of plays where that's his assignment. He is not, screaming off the edge, going towards the quarterback. That's not what he's doing. That's not what he's being asked to do on a lot of these plays, not all of them, but on a lot of these plays. We've also had some offenses who are, getting the ball out of the hands quick. They're not allowing the Ohio State defense an opportunity to get much of a pass rush. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but I am saying there's not been a ton of opportunity for him to rack up sacks here so far. And that kind of shows with the rest of this team as well. I think Kenyatta, all in all, has played pretty doggone good. Kenyatta, how often is he beating his man in true pass rush settings? According to PFF, 33% of the time. That's good for second on the team. So beating his man in true pass rush sets, he's tops. 33% of the time he's winning. Well, not tops, second on the team. And following Kenyatta, number 3, Jarquez Carter, number 4, K-Mac, number 5, Caden Curry. So 6 is Arvell, tied at 8, Hicks and Bo Atkinson. So those guys doing well, beating their man in that order when it comes to when the opposing quarterback is passing the ball. Now, Caden Curry has been amazing. Caden McDonald has been amazing. I think Bo Atkinson has been pretty good. I thought that he would make roughly this kind of impact so far. I thought he was a better athlete, but he gets it done somehow. He really gets it done. I think Tywone Malone has not been good so far this year until Ohio. He played really good, and I think he's going to continue to split snaps with Edric Houston, because while Edric Houston was not somebody that any of us were worried about coming into the season, being a potential disappointment, it's not been good. It's not been good. Edric has been a disappointment, and I thought that maybe a message was being sent to him regarding the penalties at Grambling. He has 2 penalties at Grambling. You come into the Ohio game, and he doesn't start. Ty Malone starts. Well, thankfully, Ty Malone plays really well, but Edric in the game played the same snaps as Ty Malone. They both played 18 snaps, and Edric was overmatched by Mac linemen for much of the game. He could not hold his gap well. He could not get off blocks. And I'll show you in a couple of still shots, just kind of like what most of the game looked like, because I can't play the film.
We see
on
the
show.
running back number 6
Lining
is
up
now
here
in the
on the right of
space
your
where
screen.
Edric used to
You can see
occupy.
number
He no longer
55
does
right there. He's
because
going to down
55
block
made sure
on
of that.
Edric, and you see where the hash mark is. You see where the running back is, number 6. They're going to run the ball right where Edric is, and they're going to move him out of the way. That's their goal. Is Edric going to let him? In the next frame, you see number 6 is about to get the ball, and you see 55 has engaged with Edric. So he's down blocking Edric. Can he move him out of the way, or will Edric hold his spot? In frame number 3, here's another example here. The same exact alignment, except this time Edric all the way on the right of your screen. Going to get blocked by the guard, number 60. And in the second frame, you can see he engages it. Number 6, the running back, has the ball, and he's decided, where am I going to go to get away from this big guy? I'll cut outside of him. And in frame number 3, you see Edric
Sometimes it's just flat
diving
the play
to get a
started
hand on him.
down
He
at
does
the
get
bottom
a
of the
hand on
screen,
him,
and you
but
see Edric still getting
he
blocked by
cannot
his
get
guy
off
down
of
at the
his
bottom
block.
of the screen.
He can't
while
get
the
off his
entire
block.
play has migrated over to the other side of the screen. He's still
Here's that
dealing with
awesome
this
play
dude
that
over there.
Caden Curry made where he bull rushed his guy into the quarterback. Amazing play. At the same time, we look opposite him, and Edric 5 yards behind him. He's disengaged his block, giving up ground to try to get off of him because he can't get by him, and he certainly isn't pushing him backwards. He's getting knocked back. It's not been good, and I'm stunned. I really am, because I was so high on Edric. I thought that, K-Mac, I'm a total believer, but Edric, he's the one that has this first round draft potential. And I'm not saying I don't still think that. We talked about it, Dylan and I, the other day about Edric. He's not been good so far, but have we lost faith? And at the time I said, no, I've definitely not lost faith. This is a guy I totally believe in. And I think that he does have that first round talent. And what am I basing that off of? Well, not much, right? We came into this with a lot of faith here. He just moved to the position last year. So at this point, he's got to get a lot better. He can't consistently get blown out of his gap, and not even with a double team. This just can't happen. So I don't know what's going to happen here as far as Edric goes, but I do expect Ty Malone to continue to get those snaps and maybe even continue to start. Now, the good news is not everybody has disappointed. There's been some people that have way exceeded expectations. And while I thought Edric was going to be a beast at Ohio State this year, I know some people on the Buckeye Huddle board said some surprises today. And you can join us over on the Buckeye Huddle board at buckeyehuddle.com. But they were talking about surprises. And one of the surprises somebody said was Jalen McClain. Somebody said Arvell. Neither of those are surprises for me. Those are guys I was really high on coming into the season, but I was surprised about this one. Over the off season, some people were talking about Will Smith Jr. And they were saying that Will Smith Jr. was going to be that next guy that kind of steps up on the defensive line. And to me, it sounded like, well, you've got Caden McDonald, and after Caden McDonald at nose, you've got Will Smith Jr., then Eric Mensah, then Max Roy. So Will Smith Jr., really your only option there as of now, and it's going to be Will Smith Jr., and it seemed like we were just getting kind of fed that line of information, and sometimes that happens. We remember last year with Jason Moore. Will Smith had just gotten to 285, and they had just moved him over to 3-tech in the spring. From 3-tech to 1-tech in the spring. And the reason, he wasn't getting it done at 3-tech. So my thought was, all right, he's not getting it done at 3-tech, but he's a smaller guy. He should be getting it done at 3-tech. How is he going to be suited to play 1-tech? He was injured, so this doesn't mean everything, but one of the last guys in the class to lose his black stripe. And it didn't make sense to me because his high school film shows a kid who was born to play 3-tech. But at this point, I had starting to kind of give up on the thought that he was ever going to be, a really I don't want to say dominant, but a very effective player at Ohio State. It just kind of, I had kind of faded on him. Well, Will Smith Jr. is leading this football team. The stat I gave you, the win rate in pass rush situations, that Kenyatta is 33%. Will is leading the team in that stat. Leading the team. He's second in overall PFF rate, but these are just numbers that I can give you. When you look at him play after play after play, he's dominating his man. And that's what it's about. Snap after snap after snap, Will Smith Jr. is beating the hell out of the guy across from him. When he's double teamed, he's not getting blown out of the hole like I thought he would at his lower weight. He's up to 290 now. But, K-Mac is 325 or 335, depending on the day. Will Smith Jr. is without a doubt the second best interior defensive lineman on this team after K-Mac. Caden Curry playing like the second best interior guy, though he's not an interior guy. He's kind of moving all around, but we still classify him on the end. When we just talk about these interior guys, it goes K-Mac, Will Smith Jr. as far as who is playing the best right now. And I'm thrilled about this. Very happily wrong about Will Smith Jr. was your boy here. No doubt about it. And moving along, I think Logan George, not going to be somebody we're going to see a ton of this year. The transfer from Idaho State, who supposedly was ready to come in and make this jump up to Ohio State, is the clear fifth right now after Kenyatta Jackson, CJ Hicks, Caden Curry, Bo Atkinson. But I actually think that Zion Grady is ready to pass him if he hasn't already, which would put Logan George at about sixth. Now, we didn't hardly see him at all against Ohio. We didn't see him in all the first two games, but he wasn't on the injury report. I just don't think he's cutting the mustard or just getting passed up by some guys here. But I think Zion Grady, who's played very well in the limited time he's played, has passed him over as number 5 on that depth chart.